Welcome to our weekly Greenleaf Connect event. Today we continue our April series on technology and systems, and this topic is on Entrata, which was actually a tiny pulse request for Greenleaf Connect. So we graciously asked Danielle to go over the maintenance side of Entrata with us today. And as most of you should know, Danielle is one of our maintenance leads, and she is very special as she works on all of our asset classes. So she works on apartments, mobile homes, and commercial properties. So she is definitely the expert to go over this with us today. Before we get started, we always like to begin with our purpose here at Greenleaf Connect, which is to hold a weekly forum for us to get together and talk about all things Greenleaf. Greenleaf Connect creates a place for us to be direct, informative, and build transparency for our audiences on specific and important topics like the ones we'll talk about today. We also like to review our rules of engagement for our time together. First, you can change the presentation view by moving the slider between the presentation and the speakers to make them bigger or smaller. We do ask that you mute yourself during the presentation portion of our meeting today to avoid any feedback as we present. And we'll hold a live Q&A session at the end of the presentation, so definitely have your questions ready for us. And a friendly reminder, this session is being recorded and will be made available on the Greenleaf Connect Workplace page for future reference. On our agenda today, Danielle will be walking us through the maintenance desktop mode, resident view, and also reports. And as always, we'll conclude with our live Q&A and some important upcoming dates. So it is my pleasure to welcome back Danielle to Greenleaf Connect, and I'll now turn it over to you to get it started.
Thank you everyone for having me today. I'm going to share my screen and pretty much do a walkthrough of everything I will teach a new tech who enters Greenleaf how to operate their Entrata. I always suggest them play with Entrata and see which way is best for them. I use desktop mode. You can use my dashboard, but when I look at my dashboard, seeing that I have so many things going on, I have 98 work orders, and they're not all assigned to me, but that's every work order from everyone who is on each property that I have. So when I look at my dashboard, it just looks like a never-ending to-do list. So therefore, I go to desktop mode, which gives me the ability to break everything down. I can filter and go to individual properties, which makes things look a lot simpler for me. So every morning when I come in, I look at each property, call each tech, and review the work orders that we have open, the notes that were put in the system to allow me to see what's our next move to close that order out. I can scoot right next door to my make readies, and all my make readies pop up with the areas of what we did. So that's the move in, move out inspection, the key, and each individual one that has been done, I can click on that. As far as complete unit repairs. If this is complete, I can complete that task, and it automatically gives me the green check right here. Let me know that that task is completed. Also, it gives me all my inspections for each property at the click of a button. I can also filter those so that I can have each individual properties inspections. And it just makes it more simpler because I don't have everything. I'm not overloaded with everything at one time. I love Entrata because it gives you so much at the touch of a button. If I am at a resident's home and I needed to get a phone number for that resident, I can put in the number of the resident, click on there, and it gives me access to the telephone number. If it was reoccurring work orders and I needed to find out what was going with that reoccurring work order, I can always click on maintenance, and it lets me know every single work order that that resident has put in. Even from 2015 or 2019, when the property was just bought, I will know every single work order that has been put under their resident's name. If it came a time where I had to give the resident keys, we cannot give keys without taking the license of the resident to verify that they're on the lease. I can find out whose name is on the lease. That way I can give the right person the keys to the apartment. So I love that. If you're on your phone, if you're on your laptop, on your iPad, you can find out all that information at the click of buttons. So it's very helpful. If I had to run a report, I love the fact that I can run reports. I can see how fast the maintenance guys are working. I can see what we have accomplished. If I lose a PO number, I can find a PO number super fast. So with us, we do put it on a PO log, but at the same time, if you were so busy that you forgot to put it on the PO log and you couldn't come search for the property work order here, you can always go to work order details, and that can help you find that work order just like that. So I will click here. I will look at all work orders that have been completed. I will filter that for Park Hill and say it was a property work order that I couldn't find the PO for. I'll type that in the filter, and I'll just scroll down until I see that sidewalk common area. That's my PO. So I can put that on my PO log, and I don't have to worry about, oh, I lost the PO. I can never find that again. I'm screwed. No, yeah, I don't have to worry about that. It's ways for me to find those type of things. That's what I love about that. Also, when you have maintenance surveys, if they come in, you can find out, hey, did somebody give me a good 5-star review? All that you can find in your report. I love that. And if you want to know response time, how fast are we getting things accomplished? How many days would it take for us to get those? Hit our 3-day response time. You can do a maintenance summary. You can find out everything you need through reports. I also love that. Things I would tell my maintenance technicians to do would be to always put notes into the work order. So let's open one work order for. Let's go. Okay, so the first things first, when they go to the unit, they find out what's going on. They add the attachments of the materials they purchased, the expenses. Most of the expenses I do, that way they don't have to worry about that, but they can also do the same thing. And to add expenses, all you have to do is click on expenses, add materials. I love the fact that Greenleaf have GL codes. So say you're working on a septic issue, all you have to put in is septic. It pulls up the code for you and all. Boom, you add your dollar amount, always quantity 1, and add a description. So you can complete that as soon as, I mean, so easy. It has GL codes for everything, appliance, all. Also, you add your pictures here. When you need to add a note, you can always go to add activity note, and that lets you know, hey, we have to come back to this problem. If it was some type of electrical problem, you can let them know, hey, I need to schedule an electrician. You can assign your work orders to a vendor here. If you ever needed to find a vendor, you could always find that vendor under accounting, and it lets you know all the approved vendors for you. If you needed a specific vendor, you can put in that vendor's name, like, and it gives you that vendor's information, the phone number, and the email. So you can just find that just at the touch of a button. And that's pretty much everything that I go through in my day-to-day basis. So Entrata is a wonderful help to me.
Well, thank you so much, Danielle. That was very insightful for us. And we have a couple pre-submitted questions for you. So you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first question, what tips do you have for managing your work orders?
My first tip would be to set time aside every morning and every afternoon. So in the morning when you come in, you open up your desktop, go over all your work orders, make sure that you have work orders that could have came in overnight. Maybe they're emergency water heaters. Those tasks you need to try to add into your day. The next tip I would have would be to plan your day in the morning to do the harder work orders, such as tub drains, water heaters, things that could pretty much give you trouble with, and you have harder times getting those things done. Maybe you don't have what you need, you have to run to the store. So if you plan your harder tasks first, then you won't have to stop and leave the residents without major things that they might need, like showering. Easier tasks after lunch. That way, you're not stressing. You got what you need, the hard stuff done first, and then you do your easier stuff at after lunch, like doorknobs, toilets, little stuff like that. Close all the orders out as you go. We have phones and we have tablets. So if you don't like taking your tablet with you everywhere you go, Entrata is also on your phone. So I would open my phone right then and there, take a picture of what I'm doing before and after, and close it out as you go. That way, if you're in such a rush, us as maintenance people, we're always on the go, but we're always getting called and we're always getting distracted. So, I mean, I can be doing one thing at one point in time, and then 50 calls come in, and I forgot where I was. So if you close it out as you go, then your response time will be good, and you won't forget, that you already did that work order. Take a couple minutes at the end of the day and plan the day for tomorrow. Yes, you might have some things that come overnight, but if you plan to be prepared for tomorrow, it won't take you that long to get out there and get in the field.
Good pointers there. So we see that there's a lot on the dashboard and in Entrata as a whole. So how do you make sure that you don't miss anything?
Well, honestly, it's having a good team, because they remind you of a lot too. They're like, hey, here's a picture of this thing you should have picked up from Home Depot. But that goes back to taking the time every morning, speaking with your techs. Every morning when I come in the office, I call each individual tech. I ask them how their morning is most days. Ask them, is there anything we need to go over? Did you hit a snafu yesterday? Did anybody call you? Because most of the techs have the residents, they have their number. because they feel comfortable calling them to say, hey, I'm gonna put in a work order, are you gonna be looking out for that? So just keeping informed with the technicians, going over the daily meetings in the morning. I called them throughout the day to make sure, nothing has came up. They haven't ran into some tasks that they can't complete, and they always fill me in on every detail. So, it's about building a relationship with your team, letting them know they can communicate with you so that, nobody will fall behind.
Good. Now, how do you get your settings correct so that you get what you need when you're not actually in front of your computer?
Now that comes from our wonderful tech team. Okay, they set us up so good when we first started. Yeah, we have the computers, the phones, and the the iPads. So I believe Sean set me up from my email. From my Entrata, I received emails. So therefore, if I am not logged in Entrata, which most of the day I am not, I get all of my notifications from my email. As long as I cut my notifications on and keep my phone on my volume up, I always know what's going on as soon as it happens. So that's plus, that's a good major shout out to the tech team because they set us up so good. You know, we're not set up for failure.
Good. We will go over some upcoming dates here. So as always, this recording will be made available tomorrow afternoon on Workplace. And then next week, we have some cool things going on Monday and Tuesday. We did announce our first quarter to investors yesterday. And so we have our live Q&A sessions scheduled for Monday and Tuesday next week. On Monday at 3 p.m., we have our multifamily review with Dave and Josh. And then on Tuesday, we have 3 sessions. 1 o'clock is our industrial review with Dave and Avi. 2 o'clock is our commercial review with Dave. And then at 3 o'clock, we close things out with our retail review with Dave and Andrew. And then next Wednesday, we also have our Tiny Pulse question that comes out. If you haven't answered the one from this week, feel free to continue to get that into the system. And next for our Greenleaf Connect schedule, next week we will close out the month with a nice review of our project management software, Asana. So we hope you can join us for that. And then last but not least, our friendly reminder to log into the Kudo platform to start some exciting development programs. And again, there are software courses and everything that you want on there. So you might want to check those out. And as we announced last week, we will soon start our new recognition platform, and Kudo will be a part of that. So you will get credit for completing Kudo courses. So definitely sign on there and see what you would like to complete. If you have any questions about the systems or the programs, logging in or whatnot, just reach out to me and I'll be happy to help. So we want to thank everyone again for your participation today, and we look forward to seeing everyone next week for our Asana discussion. So thanks again and enjoy your day.